Pretty sure this guy will just die from the fire. What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and welcome to another build showcase. And this time around, we are taking a look at the Frostfire Knight. Now, this is a build that aims to rapidly apply Frostbite to targets and then remove it via fire so we can continue to apply it and keep getting those burst procs that happen when Frostbite goes off. In a sense, it functions very similar to a bleed build, except that we're just working with frost. And to be honest, I think bleed is probably going to end up getting nerfed, and this is a great alternative to that playstyle. So either way, let's talk about it. This build is currently kitted out mainly for PvP. It can certainly work in PvE content. There's no reason you couldn't play the game with this, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. For now, let's jump right into the stats. So we are 150 as always, vigor at that 60 soft cap, giving us the health to really last out there. Besides that, we have mind up at 21. That's going to give us enough mind to get off our 3 casts. Endurance at 25, which is actually 1 over what we needed, but I like 25 more than 24. Strength is left at base of 12. Dexterity is our primary damage stat. That's actually at 51. It's being boosted by 5 points thanks to the talisman we have. Intelligence at 26, that's our secondary damage stat. Faith at 25 for our spells, and then Arcane is also left at the base of 9. Now, if you wanted to run this on a lower level build, the first place I would dump stats would be Intelligence, the second place would be Dexterity. And with this particular setup that I'm using, pay attention to how much Dex and how much Int you're using, because, you know, the Dex soft cap is at 55, but I actually get more damage going 56-26 than I would going 55-27 on Dex and Intelligence here. So just keep in mind your weapon's attack power when you're speccing out and putting your points where they can go. Hopping on over to the gear though, we have double noble slender swords. Now these are quite rare. You can farm these up from any of the dudes that have them, but the drop rate is pretty abysmal, so if one drops, I'd suggest duping it with some buddies so you have a couple going around. But definitely a really nice sword, and you could certainly run this build with the longsword. I mean, you can see the damage isn't far off, and keep in mind this is more strength int, whereas this is B scaling and dex, so you could easily run this build and make it strength based and run it with long swords or lord swords. But the main reason that I like running the nobles so much is if we get up against something here we go, here's like a nice edge. If I get that profile look here, you can see right now the longsword is like just lined up to that ledge, and you can see how far out this one goes. So we're definitely getting a really solid amount of extra poke, you know, just hitting things a little bit deeper with that cold slender sword. But either way, on top of that, double straight swords is just, it's a really nice power stance moveset. It's very aggressive. We got some forward thrust in there, pretty solid jumping attack that comes down, nice slash on the rolling attack. And I've been wanting to do a build with these swords for a while. I've done a couple different potential setups, and I feel it works really well in this capacity. So as for our Ashes of War, Glintstone Pebble and Hoarfrost Stomp, both of these obviously being very good picks for PvP. Glintstone Pebble is really fast. You hit L2, and then you follow it up with R2. And if that little pebble you shoot out, if that connects, the follow-up thrust is going to be guaranteed with these swords. So it is a very strong damage tool in PvP. I mean, it's like a mid-health finisher, you know. You get somebody down to half health, and that's going to kill them if you catch them with it. But it is slow to come out, so keep it in mind. You kind of want to bait that. You know, if you're using it too much, it's not going to hit. And we even have some fights kind of showing that off. As for Hoarfrost, Hoarfrost is still excellent in PvP. Even post-nerf, it's just such an insanely large cone that it's still a fantastic tool to catch somebody and just get a quick 100 to 200 damage in to help get that health lower when they're kind of trying to space you out and running away. Besides that, Frenzied Flame Seal is the clear choice here for incant scaling, and then a Spiral Horn Shield with carry and retaliation because I dislike Moonveil spammers. Moving on to the fashion, we have the Pumpkin Helm. Now the Pumpkin Helm is actually interesting in that it reduces headshots and impacts, and by impacts I mean stuff coming from above. Basically anything that's going to hit the head, it's going to reduce it. Now it's not going to reduce it to the same extent that it does when it's on the pumpkin head guy. It's in the range of like 5 to 10%, but with these swords we have a very forward-facing moveset, you know? And what I mean is, like, yeah, all weapons attack forward, but if you look at our head, we're like throwing our head forward into a lot of these attacks, really kind of, you know, putting that helmet saying, hey, look at my face. And so that ends up soaking up a lot of damage in trades, which is super nice. As for our fashion, Cuckoo Knight armor gives us that red and blue look, exemplifying the fire and ice aspect of this build, and then we combo it with Fire Prelate gauntlets and greaves, which not only match nicely but also get us to the 61 poise breakpoint, which is great for PvP. Moving on down, Erdtree's Favor +2, Great Jar's Arsenal, because you're definitely going to need it given how heavy this and this are. Old Lord's Talisman, I like this a lot here because it will boost the duration of 2 of our main buffs, but alternatively Crimson Amber, Great Turtle, hell, you could even use you know, the Ash of War boost, the Alexander Shard. And then lastly, Millicent's Prosthesis. Now you could use Rotten Winged here because I already need Dexterity. I figure I'll just throw on Millicent's because more often than not, we're not going to be able to get multiple attacks over and over on targets. This is very much a good PvE option, but it does decent in PvP for people that really try to fight into us. Moving down from there, I like going for Crimson Herald to shut down mages, as well as Green Burst since I don't have a Turtle Talisman. And then lastly, because fire damage is going to be useful here, have some pots on. Fire pots, volcano pots, whatever your preference is, both regular and roped are going to be great for PvP. Now moving on from there over into our spell loadout, the cornerstone of this build is something that we've really only seen used in exploits, and that's Fire's Deadly Sin. Now people are very, very weary of this spell. I mean, the instant death exploit abused it, the machine gun shield abused it. Even now, people are abusing this with Blood Flame Blade to just chase you around and build up bleed damage because they're all just little dicks that don't know how to play the game. We are using this in the truest capacity, and that is lighting ourselves on fire and chasing you and slapping you and slowly burning you to death. So this is going to be really fun. On top of that, it can also reset Frostbite, and that is the real draw of this, is as opposed to having one sword that's fire and one sword that's ice, we can double up on the Frostbite with our weapons, light ourselves on fire, and then the split second that Frostbite procs on a target, we get that burst, and then immediately remove it, and we can start building that up again for another burst of damage. On top of that, the burn from this can actually secure some kills, as you saw in the opening. It's pretty funny. Because we are going to be taking damage over time with that, of course, we're going to use Blessing's Boon. This gives you an 8 health per second regen, which is just enough to offset the charging potency of a Fire's Deadly Sin. So you can do a charged Fire's Deadly Sin, getting good damage out of it, and offset that from Blessing's Boon. Lastly, Golden Vow only costs 1 faith over Blessing's Boon, so I mean, you might as well. It's a solid buff all around, and for 1 faith, it's an easy pickup. Lastly, we also have Bestial Sling on in addition to Frenzy Burst. This just gives us a close range as well as a long range option that are just always good to have in PvP. You know, you never know when someone's trying to stay far away and you need to snipe them, or when there's somebody that's running at you and you just need that little bit of damage and they're avoiding your fire and everything else. Both of these come in well. So either way, that is it for the build. Like I said, this could also function in PvE. I mean, let me trying to think what's alive that we could even go fight. Well, you know what? I think the Erdtree guy down here might still be alive. Let's go look for him. I'm not going to do a ton of PvE. I really just want to fight something that's big enough so I can show you how the multiple Frostbite procs function. And actually, on that note, real fast, let me put this on. For PvE in particular, I mean, you could still use Hoarfrost Stomp, but if you're looking to get multiple rapid procs, I really like Chilling Mist. Chilling Mist is going to put out a mist, and while that mist is out, the target will build up frost. So the idea is you can throw that out and then start attacking, and you're gonna get like 2 to 3 Frostbite procs very rapidly on a target, which is pretty nice. So we're gonna toss up the Golden Vow. Really? It's gonna come up while I'm buffing. Of course, keep in mind, everything we're fighting here is gonna be on New Game Plus. We don't mess around on New Game anymore. So that means big health, big damage. Tree don't like fire. This time I roll. That last proc took a minute there to get off, but still a decent idea of just kind of seeing what it could do. I mean, those guys usually don't just drop like a sack of bricks. Let's go. I know I fought him a bunch in these videos, but let's just go fight Vike. Vike's basically the punching bag for these build videos at this point. See, the problem is I got through like all of New Game Plus in the mule save, and that's what I used to make all these builds, because, you know, who has the time to replay the entire game to try out a new build? I sure as hell don't. And I'm spending already probably like 60, 70 hours a week on this game. But I'm still having fun with it. And this build, we actually, originally when we were prototyping this on stream, we were doing double twin blades, which does work, but you know, I had just done it with the bleed build, and the idea of, yeah, just use these twin blades and jump and you get instant frost over and over. Like, yes, you can do it, but I didn't want to do the same thing I had just done. So Yeah, decided against that and instead went for long swords, which actually worked pretty damn well. If somebody tries to rush you, you can get in a pinch of damage with Fire's Deadly Sin, but in general, I'm just going to put this thing up before a fight. I'm not worried about trying to get it off, you know, as the fight is getting started. I mean, you've seen what Vike has done to a lot of the other builds. Like scary. So, anyway, we are going to jump on over and do some PvP. We're going to mainly focus duels because I consider this more of a dueling build than a, you know, raw invasion build. But, you know, if this is something you want to play and you're going through with your friends and fighting invaders, or even if you're trying to invade, you know, it's going to be fun. It's going to be effective. Just keep in mind that Fire's Deadly Sin is used by a lot of people that have a hard-on for exploits. So, as a general rule of thumb, a lot of players will see Fire's Deadly Sin, and outside of duels, they're like, oh, yep, this guy's a glitcher, and they're going to probably pull out like a self-carry on retaliation to kill you or something. So, either way, let's jump into some PvP. What is this guy? Oh, man. He's using Cestus. Wow, okay. Alright. Bet. Ooh. Wow, okay. That's the second one. I guess that's just what we do now, I guess, is we heal in duels. Oh, I have that on still. Bloodhound Step whips. Oh man, this is gonna be fun. Oh, oh man. Pretty sure this guy will just die from the fire. Yes. Feel the fiery burn of Frostbite. And there it is. Are we fighting? It'll let you buff. I don't know why she's running away so much. Oh, we're gonna blood flame glitch. Okay, that's cute. Well, that's one dead exploiter. See if I can get him with the rope pop. Blow for a blow. We can't leave it on a tie. We gotta, you know, we gotta rematch. Ah, that time we got it. GG. Ain't got time for that shit. So he's going for a pure parry build. The problem with that is I already know what he wants. I don't even know. I don't even know what to think of that. Like, all you gotta do is delay your attacks a little bit. I mean, he had a miser cord and a buckler. Like, I'm not gonna just spam into it. And he's using Beast. That's actually our next build. Oh yeah, the fire, it also pops those bubbles really easily. Oh no. I gotta make sure I take that off. People are probably going to be mad confused, wondering why I kept going to that other spell. Let's record the PvP all over the place. And see, that's why I love Crimson Whirl. Come on, man. You're gonna pull out a buckler like I don't know what you're trying to do? Yo, he sent me home! Oh my god. Dude just got clowned on super hard. Oh, man. Well, considering that just happened, I think what better way to wrap up a video than when you're dunking on somebody so hard that they need to send you home. So either way, we're going to wrap things up here. The next build we have on deck, though, is going to be a beast build. So we're going to be working with all the stuff from the Bestial Sanctum. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, you know, but it's cool. It works well. I think it's fun. So stay tuned for that, and I'll catch y'all soon with more.